everybody. Virginia Muskis, the referral diva here. I'm here with my good friend Angie Monco, and we are going to reveal for you our marketing and mindset secrets so that you can break out of your box and have the success that you really are desiring to have in the next 10 to 12 months. So I'm excited to be here. So I am a referral marketing expert. I am the owner and the managing partner of the Referral Institute, and I'm also an executive director with BNI here. So I help people grow their business by referral, and that is my specialty. And Angie, who's with me right now, is with Harmony Harbor, and she is my life coach and my mindset maven. So Angie, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, let everybody know kind of what your experience is, and say hi to the gang.
Sure. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So my name is Angie Monco, and I'm the owner of Harmony Harbor Coaching. And Virginia just coined a new term for me, which is the Mindset Maven. And I really like that, and so I'm going to stick with it, I think. And I'm just really excited to be here with Virginia because she is one heck of a lady, and what she's doing to help others change their life is amazing. And I think I'm doing some pretty amazing things myself. So we've decided to partner up and help you to learn new mindset skills as well as skill sets that you need for your business. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Great, Angie, thanks so much. So let me give you guys watching just a little bit of the background of how Angie and I decided to try this Google Hangout thing together, because it's new territory for both of us. This is only my second Hangout ever, and I think this is probably Angie's first Hangout that she's participated in. So I got this Hangout idea from a friend of mine. Her name is Nancy Jutin. She is a PR expert, and she teaches people how to get noticed and get paid, particularly speakers and coaches and authors. So from her, I was invited to participate in a Hangout with a gentleman named Alex Mondosian. Alex Mondosian is essentially the Larry King of Google Hangouts, and he has generated multiple seven figures in income using Google Hangouts to help hundreds of thousands of people get better at building their business and use great marketing tools to do that. And so inspired by Nancy and by Alex, I said to Angie, we should do this Google Hangout. And as we started talking, we started reminiscing a little bit about how we met. Angie and I met at an eWomen network meeting and ended up traveling to Vancouver to work with a coach named Callan Rush and her business partner, Justin Livingston. And that's where we met. And that's kind of where we fell into business love together. And Angie kind of was working on her business skills, and I thought I was working on my business skills. I was actually working on my head skills, on my mindset. And when we started working together, me helping her put some business strategies in place, and she in turn was helping me put my mindset strategies in place. And that enabled us in our first year working together to increase our business. I think Angie maybe doubled. We'll have to ask her. Angie, did you double or did you triple? Like in that first year that we worked together, what were your what were your results?
It was doubling it. Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Because I had a fourfold increase as a result of working with you and working with Callan's program. So Angie and I are really experts at marrying the skill sets, which we definitely need. We need to learn how to do new things, but really being able to marry that notion of the skill set to the notion of the mindset, because without the skills, we can't move forward in our business. Basically, we don't know what to do. But without the mindset, we simply don't do it. We procrastinate, or we make excuses, or we simply are too tired. We get sick. We have all kinds of sabotage mechanisms when we don't have the right mindset and when we're not even aware of our mindset. And I can honestly say that I didn't know that I had a mindset when I met Angie, and I certainly didn't know that the mindset that I had was hurting my business. And so my mindset came from a space where when I was a kid, in an effort to motivate me or push me or inspire me, I might bring home a test with a 98%, and my parents would ask me, like, hey, where's the other 2 points? And rather than hearing that either as a tease or as just a way for them to motivate me, what I heard was, nothing you do will ever be good enough. And so that really was holding me back in my business, that sense of never being good enough, never being able to satisfy anyone. sort of like if you can't win, why try, right? So I know, Angie, you experienced something very similar to that. So I'm going to let you go ahead and speak to your experience with that as well. Hey, Angie, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, sweetie, and start over.
Okay,
Yeah,
I did. I don't know why.
Okay, there you go. Start over.
Just let me know if you can hear me. So, yeah, my dad did something similar when I was in 8th grade. He actually challenged me to make straight A's on my entire 8th grade year. And he very clearly said, you can't make an A minus, you have to make straight A's. And if you make an A minus, I'm not going to give you the $500 that I'm going to give you if you do that. And so, again, just like Virginia, it set up this perfectionism drive in me. And yeah, I'm a go-getter and I'm very driven, and I really believe that's kind of where it started, because before that I didn't really care that much. But after that, I was very much into, I've got to be perfect. It's not going to be good enough if I'm not perfect.
So interestingly enough, and I don't know, can you guys hear me? Angie, can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me? Because I'm not showing up on the big screen at this point. Oh, there I am. Good. So that really understanding that has helped me a lot, because what I've learned to do is I've learned to open up my mindset and really question my assumptions about how I go about business. So if you've downloaded your action guide, which I really hope you have, because Angie and I worked hard to have an action guide so that you can follow along with us and take some notes. And we're going to be giving you some very interesting information and some opportunities to work with us in about 20 minutes. So you're going to want to hang out and listen to that. And then we've got a really special gift for you at the end that we'd want to tell you about. So we're hoping that you're going to stay all the way through and you're going to take us up on our offer. So I'll be totally transparent. You know, Angie and I are going to be doing a workshop in April together, and we invited you because you've either worked with me or you've worked with her. And we want to help you marry your mindset to your skill set and show you how your mindset can elevate your skill set and how your skill set can actually complement your mindset and help you cement a more positive, more productive mindset. So we're going to tell you a little bit about that at the end, and we just want to let you know if it's for you, great. If it's not for you, that's fine. But we definitely have a limited number of spots, and we're going to be offering the opportunity for you guys to interview with us to determine if you qualify for this Business Breakthrough VIP experience that we're going to be holding in April. So in the meantime, we do want to give you some really, really great skills. Now, some of you have come through my programs, so you're going to be very familiar with a lot of my terminology, and what Angie's going to be talking about is going to be a little new. It might be a little foreign. For those of you who know Angie's work really well and you've done a lot of mindset work with her, some of my concepts are going to seem a little fuzzy maybe, and we don't have a lot of time to really dig in and explain them and really formulate them. And that's what we're going to talk to you about in about 20 minutes, how you can get a little more information. So the first thing that we want to talk about is this, the 3-part predicament that you face in your business right now. These are 3 mistakes that I see entrepreneurs make over and over and over again, and when we get it fixed, things start to happen. These are the mistakes that Angie and I were making, and when we developed this skill set, we were able to create more value in our business because we overcame these mistakes. So the first mistake that we make is unleveraged marketing. And typically what unleveraged marketing is for me is when you're out there cold calling, when you're direct prospecting, when you're networking for prospects instead of creating relationships with people who can help you find people who have the problem that you solve. So unleveraged marketing is a huge, huge issue. And what Angie and I discovered is that there's a mindset issue behind this unleveraged marketing. And it's a myth that we've been told, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but it's this, if it is to be, it's up to me kind of thing, that we're the only one who can market our business. We're the only one who can do everything. And so there's a sense of needing to market my products and all of my products and service to everyone on the planet, because anyone with breath needs my product and service, which really isn't the truth. So we tend to be very unleveraged because we're not being focused. We don't laser focus in on what it is that we want to create in our business. So that's the number 1 predicament, is that you probably got an awful lot of unleveraged marketing going on, and that could be holding you back from your success. The next one, the next big one, is the next M. I made these 3 M's. The next one is having a limiting mindset. So when your mindset isn't focused on abundance and prosperity, and you don't have the wherewithal within you to know that you're part of a bigger plan and that you already are unlimited and that what you want in life is already there for you, you simply have to generate it in your mind and pursue it with your actions. Until you really have a mindset that's expansive, then that's going to be an issue. So a limited mindset is the next predicament that you're in. And then the other predicament that I find is that we don't get mentored. There are a lot of reasons to not get mentored. The very first time I decided to work with Cal and Rush, it seemed like an awful lot of money. I mean, I don't know. I think we paid $2,000 or $3,000, and then we had to travel to Vancouver, and it was the plane ticket, and it was the hotel, and it was the food, and Canada's not inexpensive. And I remember feeling very ill at ease about investing that money in myself when my business wasn't going in the direction that I wanted it to go. But looking back at that experience and how that experience catapulted my business to the next level, it took me from the bottom of the leaderboard in Referral Institute to the very top of the leaderboard in the top 3, got me inducted into the executive circle with Referral Institute. When I realized that that investment is what did it, that connection with that mentor and having people that could really check me on my mindset, check me on my skill set, and help me create something that was much more authentic and much more valuable was a huge benefit to me. So I know that a lot of times entrepreneurs will not invest in themselves in mentoring. And I believe that there's some mindset issues with that as well. So Angie, what do you think about the 3 M's, the unleveraged marketing and the limiting mindset and the lack of mentoring? How's that impacted your business, and how did getting over those things impact your business?
Well, I know the first thing when we talk about excuse me, the unleveraged marketing, I fell into what's called a scarcity mindset. And again, let me know, you can hear me, yes? I fell into this scarcity mindset because if you think about it, what she's talking about here is what we want to go from general to more narrow of who we want to serve. So let's say before I said, well, I can help anybody on the planet with the work that I do to help them change their mind. Just anybody. And, you know, I always hear this saying in the back of my head that says, you know, when we say we can help anybody, we're helping nobody, because it's too broad. And if you think about it, if I were to say to you, you know, Virginia, I am looking for a referral to somebody who needs to change their mind. Well, who would Virginia think about? She would think of nobody, because she would think of everybody. And so her mind would not laser in on that person that I need. But if I said, Virginia, I need a female business owner who has about 20 to 30 employees and she seems out of balance, she's married, and I just start describing her in detail, then Virginia's mind is going to go automatically to a person who she's thinking about, much more likely than if I had such a broad range of parameters as, oh, just I can help everybody. So the problem with this is that we don't want to think like that, because we think, yeah, but we're leaving all this business on the table. And because we're in a state of scarcity thinking, we're thinking, well, I'm going to lose business. Here, you know, why, if I'm wanting to increase my business, would I pull from a narrower pond or from a smaller pond? But it's just the opposite of that, because you've got to realize the way the mind thinks, the way the mind works. If we don't get narrow, and it's scary to get narrow, but it's a big block to success, we have to be willing to get narrow and target who we want to work with. And we call that our tribe. Okay, so that's one way in which we can get in the way. And we're going to be going into some ego needs here in a moment. And one of them is safety, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. But with this first one, we do have a scarcity mindset, and that's why we don't want to go narrow with our tribe. Does that make sense? Yes? The second one, well, obviously, the limited mindset. I've heard Virginia say very often that the mindset will trump tactics every time, because if we don't figure out that on a subconscious level that we are worthy and deserving of success, well, guess what? That subconscious mind is a very creative mind. It will find amazing ways to help us sabotage our efforts. And if you partner that with the ego, that conscious critical part of our mind that's always analyzing, overanalyzing everything that we do with fear and doubt, you know, we got a double whammy against us with our mindset. So we really need to be able to look at that and figure out what's causing me to feel on a subconscious level that I'm not worthy and deserving. So once we can figure that out, it's much more smooth sailing. Why fight things? Why go upstream when we can go downstream? And we must get the mindset worked on in order to do that, in order to feel like, hey, you know what? I think I do feel like making that phone call. I feel like going out and networking. And see, if we feel like we're not worthy and deserving, we won't want to do that. We won't want to take the actions necessary for our success. Mm-hmm. So mindset is everything, okay? And number 3, we talked about mentoring. Oh my gosh, she's so right about what she said. When she invested in the Callan Rush training, it really, it bumped up her belief in herself, because she's thinking, and this is the way I've invested heavily in coaching as well. And every time I pay more, invest more with my coach, I always think, well, heck. In fact, let me take you back to the very beginning. I remember back in 2008, actually 2007. I launched my business in 2008, but back in 2007, I paid my first coach, and I paid him $5,000, and it was just an upfront payment. And that was my first coaching experience. And basically, here's what happened. I learned a lot, but he spent like the first 2-3 weeks about a half hour to 1 hour on the phone with me. He was in New York, and so he spent that time with me. After about 4 weeks, he wasn't hardly talking to me on the phone at all. He was just pretty much leaving it up to me to take action. So what I thought after that experience was, I thought, oh my gosh, if he can charge me $5,000 and I give a ton more value than that, then can you see how that would bump up the belief in myself and in the value that I offer to other people? So again, mentoring, and just this year, oh my gosh, I've up-leveled my business because, I've quadrupled that investment with a coach, and the time that Virginia and I have spent with each other, and just the investments that we've made, it just really gives you that feeling of, and that confidence in yourself that, you know what, if they can do it, I know what I can deliver. I know what my value is, so I certainly can charge that too. And then we get permission, so to speak, from our coaches to charge that and to believe in ourselves. So I don't know if that's kind of what you had in mind, Virginia.
Yeah, absolutely, Angie. I think, one of the things, and I think you'll agree with me, is that the more it hurts to write the check, the bigger the results are on the back end, right? Like when some people put it up there and say, hey, I really want to, I'm gonna charge you $25,000 to work with me, and you think, whoa, that's so much money. But when you're that invested in yourself and you're that invested in your mentoring, you actually take the actions that are necessary because you know that your success depends on that. And I'm not advocating that the first mentoring session that anyone ever invest in be the $25,000 that you or I might be willing to invest in ourselves at this point. But certainly, the money that was it $2,000 or $3,000 that we invested in, then we did with Callan, right?
It was $2,000.
It was $2,000, right? And I remember sitting there and thinking, so if it's $397, I think I can swing it. And then the more she talked, I was like, okay, well, if it's $597, I can swing it. But when she said it was $1997, I almost fell over. But she gave me so much value, and she was so committed to getting the results. And I think that's what's really important. And so I think knowing what your problem is, knowing what you're out for, knowing what the one thing that you need to change right now is, and getting a mentor for that makes all the difference. And it has made so much difference in both of my businesses, investing with Jeanette Wade, investing with Art Snarzik, investing with these awesome coaches. Gosh, we have such a great coaching community here in St. Louis. It's amazing, right? We have every bit as competent a mentoring community in St. Louis as they do out in California, I think. And so really investing with those people has turned things around for me and really changed my game. And I'm so grateful that I invested, but I'm so grateful because I feel like I got more value than actually the money that I paid for it. So I think that's really a big part of it. So I just want to encourage everybody who's here, first of all, you've got to look at your marketing. You've got to decide, are you prospecting all the time or are you marketing? Because if all you're doing is prospecting, you're totally unleveraged. If you've got a limiting mindset, if you believe that the only way to make money is to do what I call Elmer Fudd marketing, was like, I'm hunting prospects. You know, if you're doing that all the time, then you're not going to make money. And if you have the mindset that that's the only way that you can get clients, and you can't rely on anybody else, or you don't have a skill set for a more leveraged marketing, that's going to be an issue. And you know, the only way I know to get a mindset and a skill set is to get mentored by somebody who's been where you are and has solved the problem that you have right now. So let me move forward to the 3 big blunders, and Angie alluded to one of these. So there are 3 big blunders that I find, they're marketing blunders really, that business owners make that are just busting and destroying their business building efforts. And the first one is this sort of mass market messaging that Angie was referring to, when we're just very diffuse. And we say, Justin says it, right? If you're marketing to everyone as if they were your client, you'll get no one as a client. Right? Because everyone is not your prospect. The prospects need to have the problem that you solve, number 1. So they need to actually have the pain point that your product or service addresses. Number 2, they have to admit that they have the pain point. They have to actually want to do something about the pain. And until the pain of staying the same exceeds the pain of making a change, your prospects are suspects. They're not even prospects yet. Prospects are people that have the pain point, acknowledge the pain point, and then finally are willing to at least have a conversation about what it would take to eliminate the pain. At least that. Then they become a prospect. Other than that, they're just people walking around who may or may not have the problem that you solve. So to assert that everyone needs the product and service is overgeneralization, and it really does lead to huge problems in revenue, in attracting revenue. Because really, let's face it, you know, for me to be really successful, I need, 100 clients this year in my workshop setting, and 4 private clients. So I need 104 people. That's what I need. So it's going to be much more simple for you guys to find 104 people for me if I tell you exactly what you're looking for than if I said anyone who needs a business coach. Right? And I think Angie's the same way. So, you know, Angie, what do you need? Like, what's your client expansion need to make money this year?
Well, my tribe, I've narrowed it down to working with female business owners. Mm-hmm. And so I have a huge goal, and we're really changing things up to work on the internet. And, you know, I would love about 200 clients. You know, to reach the goal that I'm wanting, we need 200 clients. And mm-hmm. going through our programs and doing the private coaching, which would be part of that. Mm-hmm. And so, but I absolutely know through the strategies that we're doing that it's possible if we get narrow. If mm-hmm. we get narrow.
Yeah. So, but even 200 people, it's not that many people. It's just when you're mass marketing, like Procter and Gamble needs to sell a lot of bottles of water to make a buck. But you guys that are listening on the line, you don't need to do that. Those of you who are watching, you know, figure out how many clients do you exactly want, and then what do they look like? Who are they? Who do you really want to work with? Because if I'm going to invite 100 people into my life, I want to actually invite 100 people that I like, that are fun.
Yes.
So that's, you know, the number one blunder is this need that we have to have everybody be our client. We want everybody to like us, and Angie's going to talk about that in a minute. The second one is the need to be a generalist. So while we're out there selling something to everyone, most people aren't doing that. Most entrepreneurs are not picking one product or one problem to solve. They're solving everything. So when I went to a meeting a while back, and it was pretty funny. There was somebody there who said, hi, I'm Bill with Yada Yada Promotional Products, and I have pens and koozies and coolies and magnets and picture frames and awards, and he just kept listing and listing and listing, and then he pulled out this giant box of catalogs. He said, I have 80 catalogs with over 1 million items that you can look through. but no one was listening because nobody cared about the stuff. I don't care about how you solve my problem. If I have a headache, I just want you to tell me you can solve my headache, and we'll talk about how you do it later. But if you're telling people all the stuff you sell or all the things you can do, you're overwhelming them. And what they really need to do is know you, like you, trust you, and want their problem solved. And then how you do that, whatever concoction of modalities, you can put that together, that will work. But what you want to do is go from being a generalist to becoming a trusted authority, to being that expert. Let's face it. You know what? If you're a generalist, if you're a general doctor, right, like a general practitioner, you're charging $170, $180 for an office visit. If you're a neurosurgeon, you are charging a lot more than that, right? So do you guys see my cat in the background? She just hopped up there. So she's walking across the counter behind me. Yeah, you know, so you want to be an expert. You want to be a specialist. And you want to be a trusted authority. You want to be that guy who solves that problem, the one person who solves that problem the best for the right client. So again, you're focusing in on something narrow, 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 narrow. But I've done this in audiences, and I say, I need someone to give me a pink plastic paper clip, one of those pink plastic coated paper clips. Who has one? And inevitably, one person will raise their hand, and I'll say, where is it? And they can tell me exactly where it is. And I said, that's what you really want to do with your ideal client. You want to define your pink plastic coated paper clip. What is that client? And not everyone will know one, and that's perfect. That's perfect. The last thing, which it kind of brings me into that, is this notion of it is to be, it's up to me. I'm going to go it alone. I'm the only person who can do anything right. If I'm going to find a client, I have to find the client. And that doesn't work. It's so unleveraged. It's exhausting. We have determined that it takes about 48 hours of direct prospecting to get 12 sales conversations to get 3 clients. So when you think about that, that's 48 hours of prospecting plus 24 hours of sales conversations. That's 72 hours to get 3 clients. That means you spend 3 full waking days to get 3 clients. 24 hours to get a client. It's no wonder we're stressed, exhausted. If you break it into work weeks, that means 3 full working days per client to get a client. So if you need 100 clients and you have to spend 3 days every single week to get that one client, and you need 100 clients, that's 300 work days.
That's a lot.
300 work days. And then you still haven't even started to deliver on your product, to deliver on your promise. That was just to get the 100 clients. So there's got to be a better way, right? And the better way is to strategically build a team that can help you do that. And your team comes in all kinds of forms. You're going to have acquaintances who will just create some buzz for you. You're going to have ambassadors who will carry your brand forward. They'll wear your logo, or they'll like you on Facebook, or they'll do something that connects. They'll connect to you in some way. You'll have advocates, people that will go out and speak about you. Angie and I are incredible advocates for one another's business. There's not a day that goes by that I don't have something to say about Angie Monaco told me, or Angie Monaco helps me, or Angie Monaco does this. So you're looking for people who will advocate. I was in a meeting this morning and someone was talking about the 2-year-old temper tantrums, and I was like, I got a gal, Deborah Woods. She's the magnetic mom. She'll help you. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not advocating for the people in my network. And then finally, you're going to find affiliates. That's what Angie and I have become. We've become brand affiliates for each other. We're merging and we're doing projects together and finding ways that we can help our clients have a more well-rounded experience getting what they need. And you can do the same thing for your business, but you've got to be strategic about it. And you can't know who should be on your team until you do the other 2 steps. So you've got to know exactly who you're looking for, because the team has to be doing business with exactly those people, or they're not going to have a pink plastic coated paper clip. So you got to, you kiss a lot of frogs, there's no doubt about it, but there's a strategy for it and a way to do it. And that's something that I teach in my Rev Up Your Referrals class. And if you want to learn more about that from me, on March 26th, I'm doing a 3-hour workshop in Kirkwood called Fill Your Pipeline with Ease. And if you've never been to that program and you'd like to come, my gift to you right now is for you to go to fillyourpipelinewithease.com. That's fillyourpipelinewithease.com, and download a free ticket. So it's $97 on my website. Don't go there. Just go to fillyourpipelinewithease.com and download a complimentary ticket and come learn more about how to define your tribe, how to become a trusted authority, and then how to strategically build your team and why that's going to be so necessary and so leveraged for you to start having the success that you want. And I'm going to tell you right now that the number one shift that you need to make, besides getting the skill set, because you've got to have the skills. If you don't have the skills, you can sit around and you can have this mindset all day long, but if you have no skills to back it up, you're going to have a really tough time. But the number one shift that you need to make to transform your business is the shift that I had to make to transform my business, and that is to develop a prosperity mindset. That's on the bottom right here on the piece of paper down here. It says prosperity mindset. So you've got to have a prosperity mindset, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But Angie, I know you also have an upcoming workshop, and you did agree that anybody who wanted to come could go with your compliments. So do you want to tell everybody really quick about what you have coming up for those people that really want to focus in on mindset?
Yes. In 2 weeks from tomorrow's Saturday, so it's March 21st and 22nd, I am teaching a workshop called the Whole Soul Intensive. As some of you on the call have already attended that. And it's 2 days of diving into the mindset. Day 1 is all about figuring out what's that inner critic, that voice that's always telling me that I can't do this or that I can't trust somebody. Because when Virginia's talking about building a team, we need to be able to trust. Trust is huge. And the thing is that most of us don't even trust ourselves. And if we don't trust ourselves, how could we ever trust anyone else to build a team? So we're going to work on day 1 figuring out what is that inner critic that's telling me all these lies. And we're going to work on dismantling those lies, really outwitting the inner critic. And day two is a little more gentle. We come in and we start to align with that part of ourself I call the higher self, you know, the part of you that has the wisdom and has the grace and it has all the knowledge and everything that it takes to move forward in your business. You've just simply been listening to a certain story in your mind that's not helping you anymore. And if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of that same old sad story, then you'll want to consider changing your mindset. Once you change that mindset, everything starts to open up. You'll, like I said earlier, you'll start having that willingness to take action on your action plan, right? On your strategies and all the tactics that are very much necessary to move forward. And why burn yourself out in the process? If you're going to have a successful, lucrative business, don't burn yourself out while doing it, because then you're not good for anybody, right? You want to make sure that you're not over striving and over giving, because that leads to burnout. And with like Virginia's and my personality and that driven nature that we have, it's very easy to fall into that trap of wanting to over deliver, over give, because we have things to prove, right? And we're going to get into that shortly. Yeah. So the Whole Soul Intensive is 2 days. It's called the intensive because it is intense, but it's also, you'll get results if you do the work. If you show up and you have that open mindset and you're ready, you're really ready. And Virginia alluded to this earlier. You see, if you're not at an 8 or 10 on a 10-point scale of, yeah, I'm ready to do something different, then you're not the right person for the Whole Soul Intensive. It's either you're all in or you're all out. It's one of those things, it's that, you know, you got to be ready to make a change. You've got to have that willingness, and that means that your current pain has to be greater than the fear of the pain that you think you will experience because of the change. So right. the pain has to be high enough, at an 8 or higher. If that's not you, then you're not right for this right now. That's all there's to it. And I'm not trying to upset you. I'm just trying to be honest and transparent with you. You know, have an open mind and be coachable and be ready. Those are the 3 things that I require. And so that's why we'll be going through an interview process here. But so that's what I have coming up, Virginia.
Angie, do you have one of your Accelerate Your Success workshops coming up next week? One of the 3-hour Massive Mistakes ones coming up?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Do you?
On March.
Yeah. Tell everybody about that, because I think if people are maybe an 8, maybe if you are a 7 or an 8 and you're this whole mindset thing, like I know for me, the mindset thing, I was crazy. I was terrified of that, and it was very difficult for me to even stick my toe in the water. So I know you've got that other, I think it's coming up next week, isn't it, where people can maybe come and stick their toe in the water a little bit if they're a 7 or an 8, and they can come and see you and spend a little more time with you.
Thank you for pointing that out. on March 11th, which is this coming Wednesday, and it's going to be local. It's a live workshop, and it's called The Top 3 Secrets Every Business Owner Should Know to Create Success and Break Free from Stress. It's from 5 to 7 o'clock at the Sunset Hills Community Center. And if you want more information on that, you can reach out to me or Virginia, and we'd be glad to get you that. But it's this coming Wednesday, and what it is, it's going to tell you about the top three secrets that business owners make. But also at the end of that, I'll make an offer for the wholesale intensive. So you'll learn a lot more of it during that 2 hours. And so if you're a little tentative or like, I don't know, come out on March 11th, and I'd be glad to talk to you.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Angie. So we do have these 2 free gifts for you guys. Angie's got her Accelerate Your Success program. Again, 2 hours of time with Angie. It's her heart time. This is we believe that giving comes first, that we need to add massive value first, and we want to give you all of the value that we can give you. It's part of the reason we're on the Hangout today, is to give you as much value as possible to help you feel comfortable, that we can carry you through the changes that you need to make so that you can have the life that you love. I say I want you to have a business that fuels your passions and funds your dreams. It's got to be a life that you love and that you get out of bed for, and you're so excited for doing that, and you want to find your passion and your purpose. I know Angie is passionate about helping people find passion and purpose. Mm-hmm. And so this is our what we call our tithe time. So we do these on a fairly regular basis. So hey, if you can't do March 11th or you can't do March 26th, no harm, no foul. Just let us know, and we'll get you signed. We'll let you know what the schedule is. But we would love to see you this month, because why are you going to wait? Why are you going to wait to stick your toe in the water and make a change? And it's not going to cost you anything except the gas to get there and the time. So with that, I know that some people are like thinking, wow, this is totally not for me. And, admittedly, Angie and I had a conversation the other day where I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, or I want to do that, or I'm not quite ready, or I don't know. And I had my hesitation, and, I'm back here in my privacy of my own personal care, working through resistances and hesitations and mindset crazies. And this is just an opportunity for you now. What we're going to do is kind of explore the reasons that you might be considering that you don't want to make a change, like staying the same is better. The bird in the hand is better than two in the bush philosophy. And obviously that's a very common mindset because we have maxims about it, right? So the first thing about your ego needs, we all have egos. We develop them when we're about 2 years old. There was a student of Dr. Freud named Jacques Lacan, who was a French guy, and what he discovered was that up until about the time that we're 2 years old, we are at one with the world. Like the world just seems like an extension of ourselves, and we move fluidly through the world, and everybody is pretty much, as my friend says, everybody's pretty much a squirrel in our world. They're supposed to respond to us and take care of us and do what we say. We're kind of like in control of our own universe. And then at some point, we stand in front of a mirror and we start to realize that we're unique and we're discrete in this body, that this body is discrete. We become intensely aware of our uniqueness compared to others. But the only way that we can be unique, okay, is in contrast to other people. And Lacan calls it the process of othering. And wars are started over othering. We've got things going on all around the world right now that are directly related to othering. You are not me, I am not you. Now, that's okay. It's perfectly okay. I am not Angie. Angie is not me. We're perfectly comfortable with that. But when the two of us work together, we lose the sense that we're two people, and we become sort of one soul serving at one time. And that's the experience that creates more prosperity. It creates an open flow of energy, which comes in the form of information, it comes in the form of support, and it comes in the form of money. But when we figure out that we're different, we start to realize that some people are not nice, that some things cause pain, that we experience pain in our physical body or we experience emotional pain. And then we start building up walls to avoid pain instead of passing through it as just an experience. And those walls create our ego. And our ego has these really selfish, petty needs. And so what we want to talk about right now are these 4 ego needs that you may be suffering from right now. And I know I sure did. When Angie brought this to my attention, I thought, wow, no wonder I do the things I do. No wonder I say the things I say. No wonder I get so frustrated with my clients. No wonder it's hard for me to attract the perfect people, if that's really what's going on with me. So let's talk about those those needs, and we have about 20-25 minutes to finish up, so we're not going to go into huge depth because we're going to tell you about an opportunity that we have for you and a huge gift that we have for you to get really deep into this and identify your personal ego needs with our help. So let's dive into those 4 ego needs. The first one is safety. Needing to feel safe. The world is a big, bad, scary place. And so what happens when you are deeply entrenched in your safety need, you never relax. You never relax and you never trust because there's always more to do and there's always something to fear. So you never relax because you always need more of something. And I think that's kind of where that scarcity mindset comes from. So Angie, what do you have to add about the safety need?
Well, the other thing about the safety need is if you think of these ego needs, there's this spectrum, okay? So there's, on the left side, let's say we have the ego need of safety. On the right side, we want to be able to move into our strength, which is security, which I know she's going to talk about shortly. So what do I mean? We're going from safety to security. Well, whenever we make that transition from feeling safe or unsafe, really, in the universe to feeling secure in the universe, what's happening is that when we're operating from the level of safety, we're thinking that everything's happening to us. Everything's happening outside of us. And that's a scary place to be, isn't it? If you feel like everything's happening to you, then you don't feel very empowered to make any choices. And so as we talk about the ego needs, keep that in mind, that we're always, with all of these ego needs, we're actually operating from the level of something is happening outside of our experience that we cannot control. So when we're operating from that level of safety, that's what's going on. Hi, Kitty. And also, since we're talking about prosperity, I have a little bit more detail written down. I just want to read to you. It says, when you operate from the level of safety, you want to be certain of an amount in your bank account because you're afraid that you're going to lose that money, that somehow like the money in your retirement won't last until you retire, or maybe you won't have the same quality of life that you want to have during retirement, but you're afraid that that money in the bank account is going to dwindle away somehow, and that you use money as a vehicle for security and increase. When we all have a primary ego need and a secondary. And so it just happens one of my primary ego need is this safety need. And so look at it in your life over time. If you think about how you respond to situations, what has been the primary driver for you? Have you often thought about money and worried about, oh, will I have enough? Will I be able to pay for that? Does money pretty much dictate a lot of your choices? Do you fear like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough time to do that? You know, always not enough time, always not enough money. If that's something that's in your experience, your primary ego need may be the safety need. And we're going to talk about how to move out of that shortly. So I don't know if that's enough detail, Virginia, or...
No, that's perfect, Angie. And yeah, you know, I think one thing that's really interesting, I do think this safety need is predominantly, there are 2 kinds of entrepreneurs. It's pretty funny. If you go downtown, like to the T-Rex or to the incubator, like they build businesses and lose businesses, and they're like, I'm on my 3rd business, the other 2 totally failed, and they don't seem to care. Like, they don't have a safety need, they have other ego needs. But there's this other kind of entrepreneur who always seems to be busy, broke, struggling. So
Yes.
if you're right now feeling, sometimes if you're feeling like, man, I'm always busy, I never have enough time, I never have enough money, right? I'm always busy, broke, struggling, this is a need that you're going to want to come and explore with us. So the second ego need, one of my personal favorites, I'm really attached to this one, is drama. That creating drama and uncertainty, making sure that the ground under your feet is never too stable. And usually your life is experienced as waves of intense negative emotion, but that negative emotion, you actually like it. Mm-hmm. You know, Angie and I, look, I'll out myself, we've had conversations, during most of my life, I've been very prone to having really intense fits of anger. I get really angry at people, right? And Angie will say, don't you want to let that go? And I'm like, no, I really like it. So I have these intense negative emotions, but that's what sort of defines me feeling fabulous. Like without it, I would feel numb or I would feel nothing. You know, for me, for the longest time, without those fits of intense negative emotion, I couldn't feel a thing, and that felt really weird. And the most amazing thing is it's taken me some time, but working through the process and working through the personal development, you know, now it's so easy for me. I just ask myself, what do I want to feel? And I want to feel serenity, and being in serenity feels so natural and normal that I can barely get aggravated anymore, because I look at it and I go, is this worth losing my serenity over? And it's not. But it's taken me some time. Like, I had to really be aware and do the analysis to find out that this drama need, this need for intense negative emotion, fight and flight, you know, like get in there and like pound it, those emotions, and they did not do me, they didn't do me well, they didn't serve me well working with people. Because if you want to fight all the time, but your primary business is people, it doesn't work, you know. So by releasing that need, what's happened to me is literally I just attract so much more prosperity. Not a day goes by that someone doesn't thank me or say, gosh, you're amazing, I love being around you. I get love notes and appreciation and, you know, all the things that I've always wanted, but that I was actually pushing away because of my definition of what it meant to feel great. So, Angie, what's your, I don't know if you don't seem to have a high drama need. I could be wrong about that, but I've never experienced your drama need per se. So I did once, but anyway, just once in 4 years. You've seen a lot more of my drama needs show up. So how about you?
Yes. Well, again, when we're operating from the level of drama, we do thrive. You know, if you think of the soap operas or wrestling, you know, WrestleMania and all of that, we really do. We tend to thrive on that negative emotion, you know, or just a lot of emotion. It doesn't necessarily have to be negative, but usually it's what I call we're stirring the pot. And actually, I am more of a drama queen than you know. I think I have that experience more in my household where, you know, I throw little fits, especially technology tantrums. Technology tantrums, you know. I mean, I'm very much, that's me. I mean, I do things at times where I think, oh my gosh, do you realize, Virginia, and everyone listening, that drama is actually my secondary need? Yes. So the first one, it is really. The first one is safety, because I have an accounting background and I always want to make sure I can balance my debits and credits. And, well, money comes from one source, right? And it can only come from this source. And that's that training that I received. I've had to untrain myself. The second, though, is the freedom. The opposite of drama is freedom. So I do thrive on, I can be very dramatic, you know. Ask my family, my intimate family. Just a big baby at times, you know, and I'm owning that, because that's who I am, you know. And I believe that we all have all of these needs within us, always. That's the truth. We have them all operating within us. And so what Virginia has explained to you is what she's experienced, and that is, we can still, I mean, it's part of who we are, right, to have this drama. So we can have that drama need met in certain ways that we control. So rather than just being whipped around by the torrent of our emotions, by our anger and all of that, and feeling out of control, that's not a good place to be. It doesn't feel very good. So what we can do instead is we can experience drama through other ways that we choose. You know, we can go skydiving. My daughter Madeline has this drama. That's her second main need. She wants to go skydiving. You know, just ways to create thrills and adventures in our lifetime. For us, we like to travel. We really love to travel and experience other cultures and just other mindsets and so forth. And so that's how I get my drama need met. And actually, it's not a drama need so much anymore. It's more of a freedom, the strength to be free and to choose how we want to feel. That's freedom. That's freedom. No matter what's going on around you. Again, it's internal. We're drawing on that internal strength, and it's not an external feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm being whipped around by all this drama. You know, people are ruining my lives. That's drama, right? That's not true. But that's when we're operating from drama. But when we move to freedom, we say, you know, that's happening. That's just a story. I don't have to react. I can create my own freedom, you know, of emotion.
Right. Well, you know, I'll tell you what, the next of these ego needs is probably my primary. So drama, I think, is a secondary one for me. Okay. But the third one is importance. And so this importance need is when you're not enough to yourself, where you need validation. You need to be validated through accolades. That means you need people to clap for you, and you need people to appreciate you. And when they stop clapping or stop appreciating, your sense of worth diminishes. So you're always being pumped up by other people. So it's a huge predominant need that I have had, and moving away from that and realizing that I have a passion and a purpose. And I think finding your purpose is something that Angie and I are going to help you do when you join us in April. We really want you to find that purpose, that drive, that passion that you have for the change that you want to make in the world so that you can be significant instead of important. And I'm going to move straight on to the last ego need, and then have Angie run really quickly through the 4 opposites, and then we want to talk to you about transforming your business and the gift. We have a huge gift. Like, this is like one of the biggest gifts Angie and I have ever given away, so stay tuned. The 4th ego need is connection. And this is when you hide your best self so that you don't make other people uncomfortable. And it can show up in many, many ways. This is probably, this might even, I have all of them, Angie. Oh, no. So anyway, this connection need, it often shows up as codependence, I think, where you do things that you don't really want to do. You say yes when you don't really mean yes, when you don't really want to do them, but it's because you don't want someone to be angry, disappointed, sad, frustrated. And what's interesting for me is I don't have this with everybody, but there are certain people that I've had to work through this with. So if you have the need, you can rest assured that it may not be bombarding you from everywhere, but it's going to show up and maybe be represented in one person or in one situation. And one of the things that's really interesting is that I have now found myself, I can see when people are challenging my connection need and saying, yeah, I'm not playing that game. I'm not doing that. And that's been a piece of freedom for me too. So I want to fill in the bottom blank. Angie introduced me to Byron Katie, and I think this is a brilliant quote. It's probably one of my favorites from Byron Katie, and it's this: where there's no story, there's no suffering. Where there's no story, there's no suffering. That means when you start with the facts, and the facts are the facts, and the facts are going to get you where you want to go, or they're not going to get you where you want to go, then there's no suffering whatsoever. And I learned this from Justin Livingston. I remember we were talking about putting titles on our webinars and putting titles to our introductory events. And he said, well, you just A/B split test it. And I go, well, what if it's wrong? And he said, there's no wrong, there's only feedback. And I didn't understand that at the time, but then that was like such a freeing thing now. When I get frustrated with something not working, I go, this isn't wrong, it's just feedback. So I think that that's a really important piece that you can focus on when you're working to create your mindset. Okay. So Angie, why don't I turn over to you these essential business breakthrough paradigms, and if you can cover them like in 3 to 4 minutes, that'll be awesome. And then we're going to get on, because I want to make sure, I know people had kind of blocked out till 1, and I want to make sure we don't go too far over so that everybody gets a chance to take advantage of this awesome offer that we're going to make. So I'm going to turn that part right over to you.
Okay, and I'll be very quick. Yeah, we've talked about 4 ego needs, and remember I said you have the ego need is that part of you that feels things are happening outside of you, sort of like the victim response. But then we want to be able to move into a position of strength. And that is where we know that we're taking back control of our life, and that really our strength comes from within us and not from outside of us. So back to the security need, the safety need. Paradigm number 1 is you know that your outer surroundings are a reflection of your inner world, okay? And that really goes throughout all of the ego needs. The opposite end of the spectrum for safety is security. To know that we are secure in this world, it allows us to relax. Like Virginia said, we strive, we don't relax. So when we can feel secure in the world, we are able to relax and reduce our stress and everything else. Number 2, this is paradigm number 2. And following along, if you're in your action guide, you'll see this page. You can fill in the blank. Paradigm number 1 is security. And you know your outer surroundings are a reflection of your inner world. So just fill in the blank with that. Paradigm number 2 is freedom, which we've said the drama need, the opposite end of the spectrum, is freedom, where we can be free to choose how we want to live our life. So fill in the blanks here. It says you create good boundaries and have the discipline to maintain them. Okay? This is how you can start to overcome those ego needs and the ego need of drama. You create good boundaries and you have the discipline to maintain them. Because again, if we're in that need, we don't like boundaries, we don't like discipline, we want to rebel and resist that. So that's one way the antidote for that. paradigm number 3. This is, remember we talked about the importance need. She briefly talked about that. And because we don't have time right now, we're not going to go into all that today. But the opposite end of the spectrum is to really feel like I'm significant no matter what, any accolades that I receive. You know, if you guys didn't like our Google Hangout, Virginia and I could still be okay. By gosh, at the end of the day, we're still okay. You know, and so that's when we're operating from a significance strength. So fill in the blank here. It says you create efficient processes and implement them imperfectly. So you create efficient processes and you implement them imperfectly. This is not, we don't have to prove anything to anybody. We know we're significant based on who we are. And so when you do that, you'll overcome, you'll get out of your own way, you'll get out of your own head, and you'll start doing things and taking risks, like she was saying, the split testing. Who cares? There is no right or wrong. It's just feedback. Just do it. Try it. See what happens. Okay? Number 4, paradigm number 4 is love. So fill in the blank, love. Remember we talked about connection need. This shows up as codependence. You know, we want to please others, and we often do that to the detriment. We overgive and then we resent. So at the opposite end of that spectrum, you have love. Really what we want to feel is that inner love for ourselves and know that it really doesn't come from anyone outside of us. And so it says here you set expectations, fill in the blank with expectations, and you hold others accountable to their word. Okay? Because you're not trying to make their life successful. You let them do it. You let them do it. Mothers often get into this. We want to enable our kids and so forth. So love is the strength that we want to bring to the forefront here. So you set expectations and you hold others accountable to their word. So I'm going to end with that because, again, we're limited with time here. But anything else, Virginia, that you think I should add to that?
No, I just want to say that having this in mind and really being able to know, we all have those ego needs, but to be able to know in what order they are and just to notice them when they're showing up and then be able to know what's on the opposite end of the spectrum and what would be the freedom choice, what would be the freeing choice, what would be the best self choice is huge. And, I'm really excited for everybody who's on today because you got invited to this because you already are familiar with Angie's work or my work or maybe both of us. Some of you know both of us fairly intimately. And so last June, Angie and I teamed up to do a VIP experience where we did a full day of work with Angie on these 4 ego needs, identifying our 4 ego needs and creating essentially an action plan, right? Because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And this ego thing, I got to tell you, ego and environment win every time. Environment always wins. Ego always wins if we're unconscious, if we're not consciously monitoring it. Your ego is like a 2-year-old. You don't constantly monitor a 2-year-old, they are into something, right? They're making mischief. Your ego makes a lot of mischief for you, and it gets in the way of your success. And so having a plan for monitoring and mastering your ego needs is essential to your business success. So we tried this last June, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and a number of people chose to work with both of us, and so we decided we would repeat this and we would have this work again. So on day 1, we're going to spend a full day. We spent about 5 hours last time. We're going to spend a full day from 8 in the morning to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to feed you, and we're going to give you lots of herbal tea and take really pampering great care of you that day so that you can explore your ego needs and create a plan of action for noticing and implementing behaviors that can help you overcome those ego needs and get that ego out of your way so that you can be successful. On day 2, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that need that we all have to sell to everybody, to market our business to everybody, and we're going to help you narrow it in. We're going to go through your values, and we're going to go through your purpose and your passion and all those drives, and we're going to figure out who would your ideal client be. What would the top 10 ideal clients that you would want be in your business so that you know who they are, so that on day 2 we can say what kind of message would they want to hear, how do they want you to talk to them, what is the problem that they think they have, and how can we address that in a way that makes us seem like the experts that we are. How do we communicate our expertise and become a trusted authority? That evening we are going to then bring back all of our VIP players, all of you who decide to come and join us. That Friday evening, we are going to have a deluxe gourmet dinner, and 3 people are going to have the opportunity to have a business breakthrough hot seat session with Angie and I, where we're going to dig into your marketing, we're going to dig into your business, and we're going to dig into your mindset, and we're going to mentor you right then and there, call your bluff, call you out on your BS, your belief systems, as Angie says, and we are going to take your business to the next level in a matter of 20 to 30 minutes. So, and you guys, 3 of you are going to get hot seated, but the rest of you are going to have the opportunity to watch it and to see it play out in action. And you're going to borrow benefits from that. You're going to get benefit from watching other people go through it, because you know what? At the end of the day, we're pretty much all the same. So what's going on with me, what's going on with Angie, and what's going on with you, we're all in it together. So that hot seat event is absolutely powerful. On the last day of this 4-day VIP Business Breakthrough event, you are going to be able to create your ideal team. We're going to dream it up, we're going to design it, and we're going to send your reticular activation center on the hunt for the right people that can partner with you to provide you with information, support, and business, helping you build your business, helping you grow your business, and helping support you in all of your business and personal growth. So we're going to put that team together. And at the end of that day, we're going to network, and you're going to generate business with the people in the room. We're going to teach you how to go out and stop Elmer Fudd marketing, hunting for prospects, and teach you how to create connections that lead to contracts and business and prosperity. We want all of your connections to be prosperity connections, not just money connections, not just referral connections, not just information connections, but true prosperity connections where there's a free flow of energy that shows up as information, support, and money. Because when we have that free flow of energy and when we're secure in ourselves, we can have a business that fuels our passion, funds our dreams, and ultimately changes the world. And that's really what Angie and I are passionate about. So here, I'm going to make the offer right now, and then I'm going to give it back to Angie for a minute for her final comments. But here's the deal. We want to give you a gift. Angie and I have 12 $100 bills for you if you qualify to take part in this Business Breakthrough VIP experience. We're only going to work with 12 people, so it's by interview only. And at the end of this hangout, in a few hours, we'll be sending out an email to you with a survey that you can fill out so that you can apply for an interview with me or with Angie to determine whether or not you're ready to go. If you're selected, we have $1,200 for you to put towards the tuition for this event. We're not offering this to everybody. We're offering this to people who have done business with us, who are ready to take this information and bust through their ceiling, lift their lid, and get success. Like Angie said, we're looking for people that have the stuff and are all in and are ready to go ahead and make the change that's going to make their business successful. So if you are a 5 or a 6, by all means, please come and see us on March 11th at the Sunset Hills Community Center in the evening, or come and see me at the Kirkwood Commerce Bank location from 1 to 4 on March 26th and get more information. But if you think you're ready to go and you'd like to see if you qualify to work with us, we want to join forces with you. So we have scholarships available. Angie and I are both going to give you $1,200 towards this program, and that is going to include not only all the great training and all the business breakthrough, but your food and your beverages. So all your hospitality costs are rolled into that as well. So there'll be no additional anything to come up, because we're going to cover all of that with the tuition. So I'm going to turn it over to Angie before I close to see if she has any other information for us. So Angie, why don't you unmute yourself and
Okay.
finish up.
Yeah, so I just want to say to you that, our job really is to convince you to work with us, not for us so much, but for you, because the fact is that if you want something in your life and you're pretty sure that you want it at an 8 or more, nothing's going to change to make that happen unless you change how you think. And once you change how you think, you've got to have the appropriate skill set. And so what's so brilliant about our combination of me and Virginia is that we're taking the whole person approach, the whole approach. Your body, mind, spirit, your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, you're all of that. And she and I honor that so much. And so I just want to say, give this some serious thought. If you're thinking about taking your business to the next level and you want more than that, you want to influence people. You want to be able to persuade people to make changes in their life. Because our world really is in sore need of passion and purpose. And once you can get that, once you can truly know that you're here for some reason, and that reason's a pretty cool reason, and that you want to help a lot of other people, it's hardwired into us. We want to help, then really gives us some serious thought, because it will change your life if you let it.
Thanks so much, Angie. This has been like really powerful and profitable for me, so I really appreciate you taking time out of your afternoon, and I know you've got places to be, and I do too, and I know that the folks that are listening have that as well. So I just want to close with the 3-step formula for personal and professional transformation. This is the last section of your action guide. The first thing that you need, guys, is genius insight. And you can get genius insight a lot of ways. You can listen to podcasts, you can watch webinars and Google Hangouts like this one, you can read lots and lots of books, but you've got to work on your mindset and your skill set. So I always have at least 2 things going for me at the same time. I'm constantly working on my mindset and I'm constantly working on my skill set. And I have both going. I'm reading, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm getting mentored, I'm getting coached, and I know that Angie is doing the very same thing. So genius insight for both your skill set and your mindset, absolutely essential to transform your business. But here's the thing, number 2, this is the big one, fearless implementation. You've got to be willing to step off that cliff and just know that the bridge is there even though you can't see it. And you know what? If you can't see it and there's no bridge, you've got to have a couple of mentors underneath you to catch you when you're falling, because your mentors and your coaches are there for that reason. They enable you to be fearless. They take away the uncertainty. They take away the drama. We take that away because we've been where you've been and we've worked through it. And listen, here's the honest to God's truth, and I know Angie will tell you the same thing. We haven't conquered this by any stretch of the imagination. We are still in process. The only difference is that we're a little further along on the path than you are right now. So we're kind of, when I used to coach cross-country running, the really fast kids would run, and they would finish that 3.25-mile race in like 18 minutes, right? But then there were the folks, the middle of the road kids, and then there were some stragglers. And those first kids would run back to the back of the race, and they would run their friends in, and they would encourage them, and they would keep them moving, from the moderately paced one to the flat-footed, overweight girl who just wanted to be on a team. Those that were ahead went back and brought them along. And that's who Angie and I are. We're just a little further ahead, but we're going to step back and retrace our steps with you to bring you along. And that enables you to fearlessly implement what your genius insights are. And then finally, strategic redirection. Transformation only happens when we're doing strategic redirection. Anything else is insanity. Without strategic redirection, all you're doing is the same thing over and over and over and over again with a little more gusto and getting the same result. It kind of reminds me of that old camp song, "You Can't Ride in My Little Red Wagon," right? And they go second verse, same as the first, a little bit louder and a little bit worse. It's kind of what we do. We're like, well, this direct prospecting thing isn't working, but I'll just do it some more. Or this ad that I put in this particular magazine, or my website isn't working, so I'll just pour more money into my website. Well, you can't do that. You can throw money at it all you want, but without the combination of genius insight and fearless implementation with strategic redirection, it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Your transformation gets stalled. So we invite you guys to reserve on your calendar April 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th. April 22nd through 25th, 8 in the morning to 6 p.m. each day. The Friday, the 24th, for those of you that are coming on for the VIP ride, we're going to get done at 9 o'clock that night, maybe even 10. However long it takes us to do the hot seat, Angie and I are going to tough it out. It's going to be a long day, but we're going to do it with you. So it's 8 to 6, 8 to 6, 8 to 9 or 10, and then 8 to 6 on Saturday. Block that time out on your calendar, and then let us know that you'd like to interview with us to see that you qualify for this intensive. We are so excited to be offering it again. We can't offer it to everybody, but we're giving you guys the first crack. And remember, we have a tuition scholarship for you because you've worked with us before, and we want to honor the fact that you've already invested in yourself and you've already invested in us. And you've already helped us build our business by being our clients, and we want to return that favor to you. So we do have that. And that's what I've got for today. Angie, I'm going to give you the last word. So you're it.
Yeah, I'm just going to honor everyone's time and just say, I love you guys. You know, you are so worth it. You're so worth it. the effort that it takes to put into yourself, it will reap more rewards than you can ever imagine. So thank you so much for joining Virginia and me today.
Thanks, guys. And well, while you go out in the world, blessings and be remarkable. We'll see you guys on the flip side.
Bye.